I think athletes now are more in control of their destiny than they used to be. Nobody's telling LeBron or Ronaldo what they can say. Silverware is nice, but I still think you have to win the league. A building becomes historic when you win, or you have really big moments. Sports writers are on another level. So I would interview all these great athletes, Kobe, KG, all that stuff. I don't think the world sees Canada the way they used to.
Correct.
And nor should they. We work every day to make that country get it a little closer to the promise, the ideal that we set. I don't think we're there. We've seen Sinclair to have that as one of our... She's got more goals than Cristiano.
Yeah.
I don't think the Toronto Raptors are the kind of team that wins an NBA title without Drake's influence on the culture of that team. It's going to get me in trouble. But it's nice to see you, by the way.
Honestly, man.
Long time, brother.
It means a lot. It means a lot.
Happy to be here.
So talk to me. I want to get in at one point about, you're from Ontario and you're a Habs fan, all these other things, but the show of the first half and the culture show is all about football and football culture. When you and I we know each other from mutual friends and some time, and we started having fun, and then you sort of popped back up because you made a comment on the last show with James.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what's going on here? And I was like, George, how you doing? Because you're a very, very busy man. So I said, are you into football by any chance? He's like, yeah. And then you started going on about Spurs.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, before we get into like a little background, because I do want that for generation, for people that are checking this out for the first time, where does Spurs come from?
I think it's hard to say, but I think on a deep kind of generational trauma, psychological deep dive way, growing up, Spurs are the punishment to me for growing up as a Habs fan in Toronto. Wow. So growing up as a Habs fan in Toronto, I avoided the awful Leaf experience that lots of Leaf fans had.
Okay.
I get it as a Spurs fan.
Yeah.
So as a Spurs fan,
you feel it.
Yeah, I couldn't avoid the punishment ultimately. So Spurs just became my team. I think it's weirdly, as you know, so much of my life is driven by music. And when I was a kid, I knew that Bob Marley was a Spurs fan. So
Amazing.
Marley was a Spurs fan. There's also, I think, a team in Brazil he liked.
Yeah, and he was a massive football head.
Football head, yeah. But he was a Spurs guy. And so to me...
Did that really have a play in your linking the Spurs?
Yeah, because I didn't want to be a fan of Arsenal, and I didn't want to be a fan of United.
Why?
I just thought that those were the big kind of bully teams, and I was like, again, Dallas Cowboys, Leafs, I hate all that stuff, right?
Big manufacturer. Yeah, big dollar or whatever.
Yeah, I just wasn't, even though all pro sports is that ultimately.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, a lot of the choices I made were just because of music, or just a random choice. I shoot right when I play hockey, only because I looked at the back of a hockey card and saw that Guy Lafleur shot right. But it's funny, a few years ago I was playing with some guys, and there was a coach on the team who said, I actually think you're a lefty. But now I'm too old and I'm too bad, it doesn't matter.
You're not going to sort of rewrite the
so
script.
I just make a choice. And when I was a kid, I heard that Bob Marley was a Spurs fan, and I love Bob Marley. So I went, I guess I'm going to be a Spurs fan.
That's great.
It's crazy. A lifetime of pain and suffering have come as a result of that.
Isn't that amazing? But that's the same thing with being a Habs fan.
Yeah.
And again, this is a football. We're football on the culture side of things, but I do the same sort of connection with my. So I follow Chelsea. We sort of threw that out at one point.
Yeah.
But I feel that same pain, and I always liken Chelsea to the Habs. It's always a constant ugh.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. You're always holding onto the ship, even if it's sinking.
Yeah.
It's one of those concepts, right? And that's how I follow all sports things, anyways.
It's the difference between how we're not fans, we're supporters, and it's different. And in North America sport, it's very much about fans, and in a way that teams expect us to work for them. I really feel that. I worked in hockey. I can tell you, there's a really what people say publicly versus what it actually is. Everybody's expected to work for the team in some bizarro kind of way, even if they'll never admit it. But with football, the relationship with the fan, the supporter, very different.
Very different.
Very different. And the fan can actually impact the direction of a club in a way that you could never
pull that off in North American sports.
No, do you think the owner, do you think Jerry Jones cares what a fan thinks? Like, not even a little bit.
No. And even if he did or didn't, it wouldn't matter, because if you look at the way some of the things are set up in Europe or in Latin America, fans actually own pieces of the club. Fans take meetings with the chairman.
It's incredible.
Fans can say, if you don't try and adjust this, we're not showing up.
Can you imagine what Daniel Levy, if he took meetings with fans, like real fans, on a regular basis, what that kind of conversation would be like?
Even though it's part of the ecosystem, guaranteed it's not him taking those meetings. You just lost a coach. Big Angie, land down under, the Australian superpower. Now this will be slightly dated when this probably comes out, but it's not going to mitigate the fact that 17 years you finally got a piece of silverware, and then boom, guy's gone. How did that bother you, or is it sort of normal because you were playing around in relegation?
I think that in any other year the Spurs would have been relegated. With this 22 losses, 17th, I think in any other year they would have been relegated. I think that silverware is nice, but I still think you have to win the league. I think the league is the league. And for the longest time, Spurs firmly gripped fourth, and that was hard enough. And
playing around within at least that top 10 sort of level.
So I also think that I don't really understand what Levy and the board at Tottenham think or do. I get the impression that there's tumult at that level anyway in the league, and I don't know what the future is. I don't know how long Levy is going to be
stays around as the champion.
Vinny's in. I don't know. Donna's out, so I don't know what's going to, and that's another thing I like about football is we're talking about that kind of stuff. Because the board seems to have way more impact than it would in sports here.
Correct.
Right? It's a very different thing.
Or it's just not as placed within the sort of public sphere the way here it's sort of
we don't really talk. We know their names.
True.
Here it's a telephone company that run the two phone companies owns So I do think that with Big Andrew, I don't think it's just about the 17th, although I think that's humongous. I think it's the 2 seasons. A lot of losses, a lot of left points on the pitch, but I also think that there were a lot of question marks with Andrew's style of play, and I don't think that. I imagine they took all that into consideration when they made the decision. But again, I don't know what the exact number is, but I think Levy's been there how long? 20-something years.
Again, not being a full, it's definitely been a long time, but I'm not going to throw numbers at.
I think Andrew's the 13th coach.
Well, the rotation has been insane.
Every 2 years.
But that's also become a very modern model for most football clubs. Look at Man United. Look at Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea's burning through these guys. Sometimes two managers a season.
I guess the era of Sir Alex has sort of gone for sure.
That's totally gone.
But 13 coaches in one chairman's run.
Sure, not the stability is next to zero.
Especially when you're not a big team.
But remember, you're one of the only clubs, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm sure out there in social media land will be corrected, but you turn a profit. Now remember this. Your stadium turns a profit. The club makes money. You're not in the red. This is a major. You're a business. Sports is business. So he is actually producing what he's been hired to do.
I think also if you look at his education, where he comes from, I think he comes in part from property. Like a part of his expertise, Daniels, is
development or
something like that. So clearly he's there because they are making a lot of money, and it is a beautiful stadium. I was just there last year. And
so tell us about that experience. Was that the first time you had gone to a football match?
No, I had seen Blackburn play the Gunners at Emirates. I was there at Old Trafford when Beckham was playing for United, when they pulled off the bus and all the fans are waiting outside booing the United players. It was really cool. So I've been around, but I haven't been to a Spurs game ever, just because I'm in North America and I hadn't ever really timed it with the season. So I happened to be there last year doing a bit of work. I was doing my show for Apple out of the London studios in Talyard, and I just randomly looked online and went, "Oh man, Spurs are playing, gotta go." And I hadn't been to I didn't go to White Hart Lane, so I was like, I need to go to this new building. I'd heard so much about it. So I just bought some tickets and I hopped on the train.
How was the experience compared? And this is an interesting one compared, especially because I've been hyper modern in the football sphere versus the other ones that you had been to, like at the Emirates or at Old Trafford.
I miss stadiums that feel quirky
or grimy or just character.
Just character. But the thing that I love, and I think, it's a really unique thing because there's so many clubs out there, is the buildings, even the big ones, are in neighborhoods. So to walk to the barn, you're walking
in and through
a neighborhood
with the history.
Walk. People are there. People live there. Old ladies on the porch. Like there's
a little flag in front of the windowsill with some flowers.
Yeah,
super cool.
It's a North London experience, and I grew up, so heavily influenced by writers from the UK and Ireland, but also musicians from there. So to me, London has always felt culturally connected to me just because of the music I grew up listening to. So walking through those streets and going up there and having Bob Marley songs in my head, I just like the building and the neighborhood that it's in, but it's a really great building.
Can sports and sports franchises, as they modernize, because they have to modernize, still maintain that history and that connection? There's a new fan, there's an old fan, but there's a history to an old building that once you've moved out or changed it or rebuilt it, it's sort of hard. You can't manufacture that smell, that energy, that the chip paint, the things that do add character. Can the modern sports franchise actually maintain if it's updating? I'm not talking about the new stadium. The new stadium, it's brand new and it's plug and play, let's be honest. Like in the MLS, let's say in North America, you're buying, there's 3 companies that are building these stadiums, so you're all getting the same colored seats.
Spurs Stadium feels like an event, though.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think you can.
Was my question clear?
No,
I'm not
no,
sure.
It is.
Yeah.
You can. I think there's 2 ways to do it. In the comments, there will be many other contributions to what you could do. But I believe the 2 things you have to do is 2.5. You have a narrative of storytelling that needs to include the building in the storytelling in the way that the Montreal Forum carried so much weight. Now, the Bell Centre doesn't, but still, when you walk into that Bell Centre, the fan has an expectation of themselves to be loud. And you can really tell. So I think the supporter needs to build on the narrative of the building and the fans' relationship and their job in there. The other thing is win. A building becomes historic when you win, or you have really big moments.
Right. But that you can't set yourself up for. And if you get my drift, like if it's bad season, it's a bad season.
Yeah, but you go to Emirates and you realize that team was successful.
Yeah.
Right. That team was successful.
Fair.
Right. So I think that when George Gillette, I don't want to keep going back to the Habs.
No, it's
Montreal. Fine. When Gillette was the owner of this team, they gave free tickets to every 5- and 6-year-old kid in Montreal for a while, right?
Did they?
Yeah, there was a run where they would, because they knew one game, because they knew that when you're 5 and 6, you're making your artistic choices, your cultural choices at that age.
Yeah.
So they were imprinting the Bleu Blanc Rouge in their heads, right? So
that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's really smart. It's
so
really
Bologna
smart.
FC, by the way, shipped out. There was a program.
Yeah.
Every newborn in Bologna would get a kit if you just went online. Isn't this insane?
It's the best.
No, but dude,
that's the best.
It's the best.
It's the
How
best.
are you not? This is from birth, so you don't even understand, boy or girl.
Yeah.
Mom and dad put on this little thing. There's photos everywhere.
Yeah.
You're not changing teams.
No.
You're not changing
it's indoctrination. It's perfect.
Right?
That's the only kind of indoctrination I like. It's the only kind I like.
It's the only one that's fair.
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
sort of like the. So I'm trying with my kids again.
Yeah.
We don't talk. I don't normally talk a lot of family stuff and personal stuff, but I've been trying to brainwash. They're 8 and 10. I've been trying to brainwash
into Chelsea fans.
So my son, it's good.
Yeah.
They all get it at home.
Yeah.
But my daughter's, not
Yeah.
not into football, so which we'll allow.
Yeah.
It's not about that.
You're not going to get.
I'm trying to connect with you on the indoctrination thing.
I think it's important.
Fully.
I think it's important for sport because it's
amazing.
fun. It's funny. My grandfather was a Leafs fan from Egypt. My uncle was a Bruins fan. So in my family, we didn't get together to cheer with each other.
Egyptian Greek.
Yeah. So There's so many, right, from Alexandria and all that. So my family got together to cheer against each other, not with each other. So there's value in that too.
Yeah.
So if your kids pick other teams, that's okay.
So
But so I think that you can build that kind of relationship with a new space, but your storytelling has to be dope. And I think I'm a bit older than you, but we grew up in an era, and this is what I'm really excited about. What the YouTube space does with this, because it's still, even though YouTube's been around for 20 years, and I had one of the first shows on YouTube 20 years ago. 2005 is when I had a show on YouTube, right? So, but it's when I was growing up, the sports writers and the sports broadcasters were on another level. They were so good. Some of the best writers in the world that could write about anything were writing about boxing matches and baseball, right?
Because they were into it themselves, and then they were applying their craft.
And there was an idea that there's something really beautiful and interesting about the gathering of all these people. So I feel like part of the reason we feel the way we do about these old buildings is because most of us will never be in those buildings, and if we do, maybe twice or three times in our life. If we're lucky. So it's
like a pilgrimage to
but
to
we're
something
relying
else.
on other people to paint the mythology and the mystique of that place. So who's pumping air into the ghosts in that building? And so in the modern world,
interesting.
I worked in sports media. One of my first jobs was I was an NBA reporter for the first 4 years of my career.
Was that before the music stuff?
Well, I worked in music when I was 21.
Yeah.
I had 2 music radio shows.
Yeah.
Then when I was, I guess 1993, so I was still 21, I went to the Fan, a sports radio station in Toronto.
Oh, cool.
And I was a producer and an op, and I was ultimately a host. And so I would interview NBA players. I was there in the Jordan era. So I would interview all these great athletes, Kobe, KG, all that stuff.
Wow.
But
That's so cool.
I grew up reading and listening to incredible storytellers.
Yeah.
Where we are now, there's a lot of great sports content out there.
But it's content, not storytelling, and the visceral, the energy that goes behind the research is not the same.
It's not the same, and there's also not, and I think, and maybe it's not bad, it's just different. Every era has its own thing.
Fair.
But I do think there's something to be said about what kind of storyteller are you, right? And sports is really about, I don't watch reality shows. I don't care about soap operas. I don't. But there is no doubt that I am trying to understand Daniel Levy and Tottenham.
Right.
There's no doubt that I am caught in that weird world of what's happening on a board level.
And why?
It's a soap opera.
Yeah.
For me, and I don't want it to be. I just would rather they won.
Yeah.
But I think maybe.
Yeah, but is it as entertaining for you? And I don't mean to cut you off, but is it as entertaining for you if they're just winning all the time and there's no backstory, there's no fire to put out, there's no Panic at the Disco, and then like when you win now, it tastes that much better.
Yeah.
Because you spent the last 6 months on fire.
And the fire is what keeps us entertained when the team's losing, because no team can win always.
No, right.
Right. So you need things. We just had a lot of fires. We've just had a lot of fires.
A lot of fires for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time. So, no, I think you want all this, the mythology and the storytelling. I still work in sports. I still do stuff. I still do. That's why I wanted to be on this show with you.
Yeah.
Right? Because I actually think sport matters. I think sport matters, and I think pro sports can play a really important role in a community's life, and in a kid's life, and an adult's life, and the way we interact with each other. I can comment on, you interview a musician, you rapid fire them, I give you my answers, and here we are. Right?
Yeah.
That kind of engagement is really beautiful, and I built my entire career being really connected to somebody. Even if I know you, but if I didn't know them, I still care. And I think sport is a beautiful way.
But do you connect because of the backstory before you've met them for the first time? Or are you the type of person that you're just open to connecting with anybody because of the world that you live in, so automatically, without sounding like a hippie, but you're receptive to that energy and you connect?
Yeah, I think it's the latter for me.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
I think that it is the way my brain chemistry is. I am genuinely rooting for you. I'm genuinely rooting for people, and I will root for people more often than I won't. And it's not just that I'm cool with everything. I'm actively rooting for you, and I want to live in a world. It's funny because I'm not a hippie by any means, but I definitely feel that life is so hard. People are broke. Companies are destroying people.
People are hurting.
Yeah, man, and people got a lot of time. I think people in this era, I grew up listening to punk rock and metal. So now that everybody's talking about the system and oh my God, this and that, it's like, well, it's because you've been listening to the wrong music. The music I've been listening to since the '80s have been telling us this is happening, right?
Yep.
So
yelling about it from the beginning.
From the beginning. So I look at how hard modern life is, and it's not just hard because it's hard. It's hard because there are people who are actively trying to make sure you can't afford your health care, actively working hard to make sure you can't make your rent actively so that a handful of shareholders and venture capitalists
profit just a little more that year.
That's it.
This
right.
year, whatever year.
So I genuinely want us to beat the system.
Right.
I want us to.
But the system also. So here's a question
And
for
sport
you.
is one way that strangers can connect. Yeah.
And it's an automatic.
Yeah.
You can parachute me anywhere on the planet,
Yeah.
even if you and I don't speak the same language. We use a vocabulary, a Messi, a Beckham, a Ronaldo, a Mbappe, whatever it is, a Salah. We're then connected, even though right away because of that.
I was in an elevator once at work at CBC when I was doing the talk show. It was me, Peter Mansbridge, the Prime Minister of another country, not Canada,
It's the elevator.
and an intern. We just were all randomly in the elevator.
Sure.
And it was after the game after Brett Favre's father had passed, I believe.
Okay.
And we're just four people, and there was there was someone who worked with me who wasn't into sport at all. She was just standing there. And I looked over at Mansbridge and I said, "Did you see that Packers game on the weekend?" Prime Minister said, "Game of his life." Intern says, I can't remember specific, but that second half, conversion, Prime Minister looked at him and said, "Right?" Like, that was unbelievable. And then Mansbridge, and so this producer who wasn't into sport was looking around at four people at four very different stages in their life.
And not connected.
Not connected, and also very different social strata.
Sure.
Like heads of state, and
Yeah.
Mansbridge is a god, right? And we were just all instantly on
Connected.
a thing.
Yeah.
And I think that, if for nothing else, that matters. Also, I like the fact that in a world that's so bullshitty, nobody knows how the game's going to end, so it's unscripted in that respect.
Yeah.
Nobody actually knows how the game's going to end, despite what the refs try to do.
What you just said about it bringing everybody together without it being too cliche, it really is the thing. And it really is what completely turns me on and on and on and over and over and over again. And it's exhausting because it is so exciting that it is such a connecting force. It's really like nothing else. But I have to ask you one big question, and it's not big, but you were talking about sort of taking down the system. And I'm not trying to get too into this sort of conversation. But part of what's made you successful and allowed you to continue to grow and build and create new projects that are on the way and all this is the system.
Yeah.
So how do you find yourself playing that line where you're like, I want that to hit the ground and burn down and start over again, and maybe with a more positive light, but at the same time, it's what feeds your energy and your discussion in the world?
System is built by people, and people can change everything. We need infrastructure, we need structure, we need organization. I don't think it has to be all about just ripping off people who have nothing, so that people who have a lot can have a little bit more.
Right.
So it's not that I think that we're going to burn the whole thing down. I think it's really just about finding ways to show people that we have more in common than we think, and that the kind of lines of division that are drawn by big media outlets and governments and not governments, just politicians or the system that way, it's designed to keep us fighting each other so that we don't actually
focus on things that we should be focusing on.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think we all want kids out of poverty.
Pretty
we
simple.
all do.
And all kids should be able to eat and drink clean water.
Yeah,
clean water. We're
clean
not.
water.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and you know, and you look.
I'm
at,
not laughing in that way. I'm
Yeah.
just like, this has got to be a joke in
It's-
2025.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. And people will brag about, there used to be this many reservations that had boil water advisories, and now there are fewer that do, which is true, but that doesn't take into account all the off-res situations. So there are so many places
there
where
should
we
be
can
zero.
Zero
There should be
in this country.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
zero.
There shouldn't even be this the offline. I couldn't care. I couldn't care less.
Zero.
Yeah.
There should be zero. So to me, I've built. I hopefully listen. It's my career, so I don't know what I'm doing. Sometimes I get it right. Sometimes I get it wrong. But I'm always trying to find a way to use the things that I care about: music, sport, books, to spend time with strangers. To just say, we have common ground here, and common ground. If enough of us meet in that common ground, oh my God, we can move mountains.
Right.
And then make it a little bit better, and then sit back and enjoy a game and yell at each other. So
Sure.
I was at a.
So that you're not using that as a distraction and not actually focusing on
Yeah.
some maybe a little more important situations that should be dealt with as a community.
I was at a sporting event a little while ago, and I met a bunch of kids. They were really young, 7, 8. They wanted to take pictures with me, so it was really sweet, right? Really
Cool.
cute. And then my team scored, who wasn't their team, And I stood up, and those same kids started booing me.
Amazing.
And I loved it.
Of course you did.
I loved it.
Of course you did.
This is what it's about.
Yeah, totally.
That's fun. Right, life's got to be fun, and I think when we get older, they take the play out of us. Totally. I think we got to have fun.
And they're taking the play out of kids early as well, and that's another.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think that's something that we've seen, at least with me and young kids and what's going on in schools. Sport is so absolutely important, even just to be able to sit back in class again for another couple of hours.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not giving them activity is insane. But sorry, because I wanted to ask you this because this goes very well with what you just mentioned. You covered stories, and you've covered a lot of stuff with real weight. Yeah. Obviously, you've covered the spectrum is too long for me to get into. But do you think athletes today are more empowered to speak up on political and social issues through their platforms than ever before? Or are they in a space where they can't because what feeds them will just be like, you're done, tap out, no more?
It depends. I think it really depends on what it is. I think that there are some athletes I think athletes now are more in control of their destiny than they used to be. The teams used to wield a lot of power, and they do to a degree, but they don't really. Nobody's telling LeBron or Ronaldo what they can say. Nobody is.
Right.
It's weird now because of Gaza and Palestine. If an athlete says anything that way, they absolutely get hammered. It's the only humanitarian issue I have ever seen where people are criticized for talking about humanitarian aid is if you're trying to help Palestinian kids. It's the only time I've ever seen that in my life. In my 32 years in this business, it's never been anywhere near what it is like that way. So there are still some conversations that athletes, a lot of them are afraid to weigh in on because they'll lose sponsorship, they'll lose things like that. But they make so much money now that what's Son making for Spurs? $200,000 a week, right?
Yeah, it's madness. Yeah. I mean, there's people rejecting going to the Middle East at $200 million a year because they're okay.
Yeah,
imagine that. Imagine what I'm saying, what I just said.
So they have more power now than they ever had.
Right.
And I also think, and this is a consideration that people maybe don't talk about enough, is that every era will decide what they expect from their celebrities. So this generation of young kids has a different expectation from their celebrities, and the celebrities can't get mad if the audience wants something different from them. Anytime you're a public person who asks somebody for something, buy a ticket, support this charity, do anything. If you're asking the public to engage in your life, then you don't get to run away from them when they expect something from you. And I think right now, this era of celebrity and athlete, there is an awful lot of, this is an unkind way of looking, but they're just babies. They expect everything to come to them and have
nothing back.
No, nothing back. They think playing is enough.
Yeah, that's definitely not enough.
Not enough. The audience expects more from you. And
that's like saying you're going to work is enough in your daily life.
That's right. So I'm a big believer in whether or not I agree with every era's expectation of the celebrity is irrelevant. Every era gets to decide what they want their people to be. So I'm
stop looking at what would have been the norm, let's say, 10 years ago in the athletic sphere. It just can't not possibly be the same now.
I forget the name of the player, but there was an NBA player who tweeted something during halftime, during a playoff, saying, I got to be better. And the harangue about that, where now, like, people be live streaming from the bench, you know? Yeah, exactly. So it changes. Yeah. It absolutely changes. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay that it changes. So if a group of, and I think it's also different in communities. I think that if you're a supporter of a club that you're a part owner of and they're a big part of your community, you get to dictate what's important to you. We don't work for the players. We don't work for the teams. We don't. We have an agreement.
Yeah.
We have an agreement. Sometimes implicit, sometimes not. But we have an agreement. And so there's things that I don't want my athletes to do. And if they do it, then I don't accept it. And I don't have to go, oh my God, because you scored 4 in the last 3 games.
Then I accept this.
Yeah. So I think we get to determine what we want. I really do.
And the reaction needs to sort of culminate and be the same, meaning they can't take it as personal as you just said.
Yeah.
If you get upset that you've done that, you've said that, you've done,
Dude, I'm sure you see it on your post, the comment section. I mean, everybody's weighing in. Everybody.
Well, it's not that the first half is neutral, because this isn't what the show's about, sort of thing, and it's more of a get to know extremely fascinating humans, and anything. Some in sports, some in some media, some are business owners, some are writers. Like to me, it's anybody that loves sport, specifically football here, because this is what I'm addicted to, but that loves sport and understands what you just brought up. That you and I are sitting here today. Yeah. Even if I feel like I didn't know you, you and I would have the same conversation would be exactly the same. Yeah. We would have had this exact same conversation. That's sport. So that's what this show's about.
That's it. It's about and people. It's about community.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. On a goofy level, what would be your dream halftime show if you could pair any artist with any major sporting event?
My dream halftime show.
Yeah, and everybody could. It doesn't. There's nothing you can't say, right?
Doesn't matter the sport.
Nope.
Doesn't matter the thing.
No, you want to rip into a halftime curling adventure? Let's do it. You want to Metallica?
I just want Metallica to play.
That's so cool.
Like Metallica at the Super Bowl would be the greatest.
But so it'd be the Super Bowl and it'd be Metallica.
Yeah, but it would probably be the World Cup, and it would be,
Yeah, that's what I'm bringing up because it could be any major sporting event.
Yeah, no. Well, if it's the World Cup and it's in England, I want it to be Oasis. I want Oasis at the halftime at the World Cup. That's the venue I want to be in.
Yeah.
I want to sing
100,000 people screaming and
Champagne Supernova.
Yeah. Are you going to see one of the shows in Toronto? I'm
not going to go to Toronto. I'm going to try to go to London. I want to see some shows in Wembley. Yeah. I really want to. I don't know if I can make it there, but I love Oasis, so that's the show.
That's going to be fun.
And they're City fans, right?
So City both fans. Of them. There's not even a discussion.
Yeah.
Aguero. We're living in a time of big cultural shifts. So how do you see Canada's identity evolving through the lens of music, sport, and media? That's a handful and a mouthful.
I think we have a really big rethink ahead of us. I think that every nationality, every group of people has an idea of what their country means around the world and are often shocked by the reality. I don't think the world sees Canada the way they used to.
Correct.
And nor should they. I think this country has, over the years, I'd say the last 20, not done enough to maintain the vibes, the good vibes that this country used to be.
That flag on your backpack when you were on the trip, right?
Yeah, it matters now still because it's a differentiator from what's happening south of the border.
Fair.
Because I think we have gained because of what they have lost, right, in the U.S. But, I think Canada's a really big opportunity to tell the world what it wants to be, how they want to be seen. I don't think we're the country, by no means we're the country of the blue helmets anymore. Lester B. Pearson and the peacekeepers, we're not that, right, in the UN. So we're not the country that, we're just not the country that I believe.
Yeah, and again, I'm not looking. I don't mind. You get where I'm going with this question. It's.
I think a flag and an anthem in a country is just a promise of what you hope to be, and then you work every day on every level. Not just the Prime Minister and the Privy Council, the PMO. It's not just that, but it's you and me. It's everybody. We work every day to make that country get it a little closer to the promise, the ideal that we set. Nothing's perfect, can't always do it, but you push it in that direction. That's what I want my countries to be. I don't think we're there. I don't know what this new.
Can we get there?
Oh, for sure. I think everything. Okay. I think we certainly can. I don't know what this new look in Canada is going to. I don't know what this new group's going to create. I will say this, and this is not going to be helpful to anybody, but I approach the world like cathedral thinking. The men and women who designed and built cathedrals knew they would be long dead before those cathedrals were built or finished.
Right.
You're playing the long game. We are still in the very, very, very beginnings, big picture view of social media.
Yep.
It's the very beginnings. So as this place is being reshaped, we're all part of what it means to communicate, how we work with each other, how we handle mis and disinformation, how we handle disagreement. It's still new, in that we were old enough.
But this part of the world's still new too, right?
Yeah, so new.
Right? Like, let's not forget that,
dude.
well.
I was sitting on a wall in Syria, built many, many, many thousands of years ago by an empire that most people have never heard of.
Correct.
But that empire ruled that whole region.
But this is what I'm saying.
It's just new. And that doesn't help because everybody has, I think, what we call, at least I call it, like an era excellence idea. Like we think that our era is the era.
Yeah.
But history is a big, long,
And
crazy
being
thing.
literally being written every day.
Every day. But it's going to be 1,000 years before people know what this was.
Right.
In the way that we read about Mesopotamia and try to
Correct.
figure out what that was.
Yeah.
So I think it's just really, really early. You know,
That's cool.
In trying to understand.
And that was where
Yeah.
the question came from, because it is such a thing now, right? And everybody is so attached to what, like you said, their flag or their anthem means.
Yeah.
That it's, I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad thing. I'm just saying it's something I wanted you to answer.
My mother's from Eastern Europe, and she said that she lived in 3 countries before she was 12 and didn't have to move once because the borders just kept getting redrawn.
Amazing.
It's just so temporary.
Did she? Is that really what she said?
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
what a brilliant
yeah.
line that
lived
is.
in 3 countries, didn't have to move once. All of a sudden I'm in Poland. All of a sudden I'm in Germany. Now I'm Czech. I don't know where. Yeah, it just keeps getting redrawn. So it's that provides no comfort to most people when you look at them and say, "This is so temporary.
Yeah.
What a blip this is."
No, it doesn't. It doesn't add comfort.
You know,
You're
no.
totally right about that.
But it is the reality. So I think that here's what I can say. I work very hard to make sure that I'm contributing to the kind of country that I want this country to be. And so I just do what I can.
Right.
And I'm lucky enough to have a version of a platform and a little bit of, I have a few connections, so I can move.
Come on, you have a lot of connections,
can
but you
sort
also
of-
have a great platform.
I can move conversations in some ways a little bit, not ultimately, but I do my best.
Fair.
And I think that's all you can kind of do. Maybe do a little bit better than your best, and then that helps.
Well, so then, what's something about you that your audience might be surprised to learn, especially from your years behind the mic and in front of the camera, because you've really, when it comes to media or the public or your involvement in community, you have been on literally every side.
I've been on a long time.
But it's not the longevity. The longevity is obviously a testament to what you do, and people enjoy what you have to say, or maybe don't, but still want to have, still want you to say it. But what's something for the audience that has been following you, or a newer audience that might get to know you for the first time? What is something that might surprise them to learn about yourself?
That I love horses, like that.
It's important. I think you put out something.
Somebody told me the other day that they don't know me that well, but they knew me from stuff in the media, and they said that I present much gnarlier than I actually am. Like I'm a little sweeter.
Yeah.
And they were surprised. But no, I think what it is that I
like more Keith Richards ring, but you're a little more into tea, kind of thing.
do like tea. Yeah.
I'm joking, but you get what I mean.
No, No, I think it's more that I'm really, really, really passionate about like kindness and the human connection.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is the thing that people think that when you get it, and maybe, I don't know, maybe they say this to you when you're on camera or on a microphone. They don't maybe really truly understand your intentions, but my intentions really are like straight from the heart.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really that way. What surprises people the most is how much I love horses and how much I love curling, that sport.
Really,
I love the sport of curling. So I love curling. Like the sport I watch the most is...
You're not going to tell me curling.
No, it's MotoGP. Okay. MotoGP is the sport I watch the most. I watch every race. I watch every qualifying. I watch every free practice.
Wow.
So that's the sport I watch the most.
Where did the car thing come from?
No, it's all motorcycle racing. All motorcycle.
MotoGP.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah.
So I ride motorcycles.
You ride motorcycles. That's right.
Yeah. So I love moto. It's also a sport that I find to be like I like F1 for the same reason, is that the stakes are so high.
Yeah.
If you get it wrong, it's
You're
the end
done.
of your life. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love motorcycle racing. I love curling. I love hockey. I love football. And of course I like basketball, and baseball. I just don't have time to watch all the sports.
Well, no, you're.
So you just kind of you pick and choose where you can.
That's amazing.
But people are really surprised when they find out how much I like the sport of curling.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I can see that would be a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
You're a rock and roll type guy. We've seen how music and sports collide in stadiums, and documentaries and culture. What's your take on how they shape each other? Because they definitely do. There's not really there is not one without the other.
I don't think the Toronto Raptors are the kind of team that wins an NBA title without Drake's influence on the culture of that team.
There you go.
Full stop.
There you
I
go.
think there were lots of reasons. I think Masai was brilliant. I think lots of reasons.
No, yeah.
But how Drake, and he gets a lot of hate and a lot of love, and he has a lot of money, but how Drake shaped the view of Toronto for a wave of players cannot be overstated.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact he did, but I've seen it play out. So, and I've never seen anything like that in my life. I've never seen that.
Where that kind of influence on the sport by an individual on the music side of life completely changes the trajectory.
Yeah. There has never been an artist in the modern social media era who was as big as he was for that moment. Obviously, Taylor is, but Taylor's not
shifting.
She's not on a team,
right?
Right. You know, the Travis stuff and
but that's
Casey,
different. That's
yeah. Drake was like
by relation,
working, texting players, managing. Like
he was in.
He was in. Yeah, I think it's a really big deal.
Noctura, by the way, his brand is all into football in Venezia, in Italy.
Oh, smart.
Yeah. He's hype.
He knows what he's doing. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
he's
like,
so far ahead of the game. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I do think I don't think it shapes us as much, but I do think that our relationship with sports is changing. So I'm not quite sure how it will change over time, but it's definitely there.
Growing up in Canada, where hockey reigns, as you begin, and again the Habs Leafs thing, you still have, I mean, your grandpa was a Leafs fan. I'm still not completely clear
Montreal,
how this
I come
Habs...
from Eastern European family, right? The Toronto Maple Leafs were owned by a guy who was racist, and the Montreal Canadiens were a classy organization who had a really strong relationship with Eastern Europe, and they would have these really gentlemanly, beautiful games against the Red Army. So the Habs were an organization that exuded class, where the Leafs were run by a disaster of an operation, and they were shitty. And the Habs weren't very good either. I saw the Cups, but remember, in between Cups, the Habs had some really, really lean years.
Yeah.
But the organization
was run with class.
Class, and I
Interesting.
I put a lot of value on class because you're getting all these tax breaks when you build your buildings. You're charging us a fortune to just be a fan.
Just be a fan, yeah.
Team sucks, you raise the prices.
Right.
The money doesn't go back to the community no matter what they say. Oh, we do this charity, we do that charity.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah,
sure.
It's just like, stop lying to us.
Yeah.
Thanks for what you're doing, however. And so my expectation is if you're going to get all this free pass, you got to be dope, man.
Yeah, you got to be on point.
Yeah.
That's actually funny. That's very much, that's why Beliveau was always my favorite player. And when I had met him, he had exuded exactly that.
I had breakfast with him once. He was everything you wanted to be, wasn't he?
It's shocking.
Shocking, yeah.
And the fact that he was even at his, whatever the age was when we met more than once, he was still tall, big.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that.
Yeah.
But he exuded
I've
what
never
you just
seen-
said, class.
I've
and,
never seen
and
an
respect.
athlete. I've never seen an athlete like Beliveau.
No.
No. In my 30 years covering it, I've never seen somebody who wandered in the room the way Jean Beliveau did.
And the room stopped.
Yeah.
And sort of,
Henri Richard was cool too. The pocket rocket dope.
I wouldn't know, but yeah.
But different. Like he's more of a
bulldog. Like
yeah. And Jean Beliveau walked in like
Walked
an
in.
Yeah, totally. It was incredible. It was incredible.
Okay, so then back to my question. So growing up in Canada, where hockey reigns, hockey's the thing, and you're a massive Habs fan. How have you seen the rise of soccer and other global sports shifting the cultural landscape of our youth, right? Like, and how things are, because they are changing.
It's like I think there's a few things that have to happen. You have to have a certain group of superstars whose trajectory will kind of match the access you have to them. So the internet, video content online, clip culture, social media gives us access to all these people. We didn't have the channels that gave us all these games. I can follow Spurs now in a way that I couldn't have followed Spurs in 1994.
Not a chance.
Right? Not a chance.
Yeah.
So it has opened up the world, and the sport has become borderless. I think also Messi, Ronaldo were right there as this happened, And
as a shift in accessibility.
Yeah, for sure. And you have a million leagues in a million countries. Also, growing up in Toronto, I grew up in Toronto, but I grew up in a part of Toronto that is very ethnic. So I'm an ethnic kid. Most of the kids in my school, I didn't do the math, but I would guess 90%, somewhere around there. We were the first people in our family born in Canada.
Yeah, amazing.
So in '82, when Dino Zoff and the Italian, Paolo Rossi, when the Italians won the World Cup, my neighborhood went off. It went off in a way
that you at that age too would have been like, what's going on?
Right? Yeah. And I loved it when
That's awesome.
in Toronto where I live, and I still live, very multicultural. So it's Korea, Chinatown, Portugal, Little Italy. We have a lot of Little Italies in Toronto.
Yeah.
And every time there's an international tournament, cars are draped with flags, all of them.
Yeah.
When Brazil won the World Cup, off. So there was just something really cool, because I think your relationship with it is more than just the team you support. Yeah. It's connected to your country, to your history, to your grandparents. There's just a lot of things that make a football championship so much greater than any other kind of sport because of the geopolitical, historical, immigration, all of that, right? So that's how I grew up around watching soccer. My dad, Greek, born in Egypt, lived in Brazil. So so he was a big Brazil fan, but he split when I was a kid. So I like Brazil, and Canada was not really a player until the women's team, who are incredible.
Incredible, right?
Oh my God, the women's team have just
that whole shift too. It's just
Christine Sinclair to have that as one of ours.
Yeah, and I have to jump. You had done some stuff recently.
Yeah, just not that long ago. I interviewed her. Yeah, I really like her. Yeah, what a player.
Yeah,
what a force.
And does she understand that the weight of what she's done?
I think she does
in the women's game here, North America, but definitely in Canada. This is where we're having this interview, right?
I think she does, but she isn't the kind of person that
she's
thinks
humble.
About
like
it.
it's not her. It's not.
She's got more goals than Cristiano.
Yeah.
She's got more goals than Cristiano. Like,
last year.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the rise of that. Was it Josie Altidore who scored when FC won the championship in MLS?
Okay. Yeah.
So. Josie Altidore. I'm about to do a thing with Josie Altidore in LA for the World Food Program, which we're both connected to. So the rise of MLS has been really cool to watch here.
Yeah.
And FC in Toronto, right away, the fans did it. The reason why that sport was so fun to watch there was I don't know what it's like here with CF Montreal, but is it CF Montreal?
Yep.
I miss the snowflake. I love the snowflake logo. I miss that logo. I thought that logo was important, and it was I think the best year that Montreal ever had.
Yeah,
was in that logo.
It wasn't the best year they ever had, but it definitely did some jersey sales.
Was the most jersey sales. Yeah. I missed that logo because also that logo was, it kind of goes back to what I talk about, how I think a team matters to a community. Yeah. So I love that logo. But FC, the fans were mental in the building, and that was really fun. So I think also hockey, baseball, and basketball and football, to a lesser degree. I say that not living in a city that has an NFL team, but there's a kind of separation from the way the fans interact with players. So as soccer was reaching people around the world because of social media and internet, you could be so passionate about another team and feel that when you're at the rink, like you're at the pitch and you're singing songs, calling out owners.
Yes, it's something else.
Something else.
Something
man.
else.
That doesn't happen. And also the sports reporters in North America, this is going to get me in trouble. I think the bar is so low for the Big Four here, whereas in football, the bar's high.
Very high.
Very high.
No matter the league.
No matter
the league. This is another thing. Let's not forget.
And here, and I can tell you firsthand, a lot of the people who work in the broadcast game here work for companies who also own the teams.
Right.
So you're not really you're getting versions of it, but with football, and in fact, I consume most of my sport content from independent YouTube creators because I'm getting a much
on
better,
the ground, real, visceral. You're connected.
Yeah. What I'm looking for is, and as YouTube creators start to get more engaged with insiders, when they start to in the way that Pat McAfee did in football, although I think there was something going on behind the scenes there, but
but he's managed.
Yeah.
It's
so
fantastic,
I only go to mainstream sport coverage because I know there's an insider who might have information, and I like the insiders in that world better. But I also know that they're couching, and they're just because they have relationships with.
So they have to be sort of cautious.
Cautious, in a different kind of way. So with football, the broadcasters are so much more honest.
Yeah.
So much more critical.
Brutal even sometimes.
Brutal. Have such an incredible command of the language that when you're listening to I'll play.
That's another thing for sure.
Oh God, it's
guy poetic.
As a broadcaster, and as a guy who reads, I am blown away by the commentating from a football play-by-play. Oh God, it's
poetic. That's how I see it.
I in my PS5, I'll play FIFA.
Amazing.
Sometimes just to hear
the background.
The background of the
That's
call.
amazing.
So I think that football is just a really beautifully presented game.
Yeah.
And the fan has an expectation of everybody involved. There are people in North America who do, like myself, like you, but it's not the same because who owns what? It's just a little too inside, and I'm a little too punk rock to.
Yeah, you need that sort of separation of church.
Like
and
watching
state.
the coverage of I don't know when this is going to go up, but watching the coverage of the Ange in, Ange out crew.
Yeah.
The Greek Australians losing their mind for Tottenham, who are no longer going to support Tottenham.
Yeah.
They're just following Ange.
Yeah.
The going through it with Mourinho, watching the way people talk about sport there, it's just different. Now the comments are always gnarly.
Sure, but that'll always be its case.
Always, yeah.
So just before we wrap up, I wanted to ask: is there anything that I haven't picked upon that you want to bring up?
No.
So
you're going to rapid fire me? Do you have a rapid fire?
I'm rapid.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I definitely don't want that canned crap. I don't want the answer you did online. You have to come up with new 12
questions. Well, I did
questions.
say in that was my answer for today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
All
good.
right. Yeah.
So first off, I'm honest. This is going to sound completely ridiculous, but I'm honored, and I can't thank you enough for your time today.
God,
this was
to be with
amazing.
you.
But the Spurs thing blew me right out of my undies. I was like, what? But
I was at Kane's last game. I saw Son play live. I don't know if Son is going to stick around. He's 30-something years old now.
Yeah.
I think he's a great captain, but I don't think he's the kind of captain we need for this stage. So
in your new, again, I'll be careful not to voice my opinion as a non-Spurs fan, but this whole thing is going to shift now.
Oh God, it's going to
up. It's going to be wild.
Yeah. And who are they going to bring in? Frank? Thomas Frank's.
Well, that's it.
That's I don't know. Yeah.
But that's why. So I don't want to date this too much.
Yeah.
But what's on the list? It's incestuous at this point. Like, where are you going to go for a manager? No, but you get my drift. Like, the pool's getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
It's so crazy.
No, but it's for all English. It's all for all English clubs. It's all for clubs in Europe. Right.
And they want European pedigree, right?
Right.
So they want European pedigree. Ange has European pedigree. Other than I think you lose. I think you finish 17th.
You got to go.
You got to go. I'm fine.
Because if you didn't win that trophy, there wouldn't even be a discussion.
No, not at all. And,
right?
and winning the trophy is important.
No.
Nice
I'm just saying he had
no.
Levy, your GM, the man at the top had no choice.
Yeah, no choice. I think so. Yeah. Although I thought that was a weird press release because usually Levy's the guy that says the stuff. The statement about Ange's exit wasn't really from Levy. It didn't feel that way. So I think something's happening. I don't know.
Well, by the time that you and I reconnect and this goes out, we'll be able to have this jam online. So listen, George, thank you so much.
I hope we get to 8th.
You're going to be top 5. Don't worry about that. Mark my words. Okay, so thank you very much.
Pleasure, brother.
I can't thank you enough. We'll stay in touch and we will connect around the World Cup again.
Yes.
So when World Cup comes 2026, we're going to connect in Toronto at some point.
I got a place in LA, so the Cup games are going to be played there too. So
okay. So if you're in LA or in Toronto somehow, I'm coming a little couch surfing. Okay. We're going to do 12 questions right after this.
Okay.
Thanks. You ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right. 12 questions.
Right.
On the first half. With Strombo. Yes, I'm supposed to say George Stroumboulopoulos, but I don't care. I want to say Strombo because you know what? That's
Call me whatever you want. I've been
it's
called
such a good
so
name.
much worse.
All right, motorcycle man.
Yeah.
All right. Question 1. What is your favorite film?
Favorite film of all time, and these have to be different than my comments.
Yes.
My favorite film of all time is Apocalypse Now, or The Conversation, but probably Battle of Algiers. But for today, I'm going to say Apocalypse Now.
Number 2. What is your favorite song or band?
Favorite song is Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, but probably Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd or Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd. Favorite band is Led Zeppelin.
You're going to make editing this impossible. Number
You're
3.
just gonna have to,
Favorite
leave them all in.
favorite sports team?
Habs.
Number 4. Favorite athlete, dead or alive?
Valentino Rossi.
Number 5. What is your favorite food?
Pho or a Greek salad.
Number 6. What is your favorite drink?
Does olives count as a food?
Well, it's more like
Greek
sure,
salad.
Greek salad
Yeah,
with olives.
Yeah. And pierogies. Oh, my God, pierogies.
So there
Oh, my
number
God.
3. So that's and then the third answer for one question. Number.
You
what
guys,
is your,
but they're so fast. You can.
yeah. That's it. We have really amazing people involved. What is your favorite drink? Alcoholic or non-alcoholic? I know there's no alcoholic, so non-alcoholic.
Montreal used to have an original formula energy drink called Guru. They still have it, but it's a different formula.
It's a different formula.
The original formula of
Yeah.
Guru was my favorite drink of all time.
That was a flavor.
That was like medicine.
That was
Yeah.
medicine.
Yeah, that very first Guru was my favorite drink of all time.
Wow, good
Yeah.
answer. Great. Number 7. What would be one thing you would buy if you won the lottery?
If I won the lottery,
And it's a big lottery.
a big lottery.
Big.
Well, I'll give you my playful answer, not my real answer. I would buy a Porsche 911 convertible.
Okay, and
Yeah,
why
yeah,
can't
yeah.
you give me a real answer?
Well, I would buy a building and turn it into affordable housing. You know.
Why can't you do both? You pull
Because
up in the
someone's gonna watch
Porsche,
it- someone's gonna watch it and be like,
but
"Oh
you
my
pull
God."
up in the Porsche to your affordable housing.
I would do
You've
that. I would
answered
just-
8 questions
Yeah.
to each other one.
Yeah.
What's wrong with this? Now all of a sudden you're like, only gonna get one.
I would buy a Vincent Black Shadow motorcycle. That's what I would buy.
And put it in the trunk
No,
of
I
the
would,
Porsche.
I would
or
ride
no?
it.
Okay,
I would
right.
ride the Vincent Black Shadow. That's what I
Wow,
would ride. Yeah.
gorgeous. Okay, how do you deal with stress?
I remind myself that nothing matters.
Oh,
I
cool.
take a step back, and if it's really a lot of stress, I'll just Google an image of the galaxy, and I can't even find the Earth in it, and I just look
just
and I go,
reminds you, like,
it doesn't
oops,
matter, man.
oops.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, smart. Dream trip.
Motorcycling through Greece.
Cool. Now for the after hours.
Yeah.
The sexy styles, the first half.
Right.
Pajamas or no pajamas?
Oh, no pajamas. I'm a grown man. I'm a grown ass man. I'm still more. People are like, I wear pajamas. You're a grown up. No pajamas.
No pajamas. What is your favorite fashion brand at the moment?
Favorite fashion brand at the moment is called. It's probably Double RL. Probably
Okay.
Double RL.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Now name one thing you cannot live without.
My motorcycle.
Your motorcycle.
I can't
Beautiful.
live without that.
One word to describe football. So football is.
It's beautiful. I guess that's why they call it that.
That's why they call it that. Your answer is beautiful. The smooth pause gives reflection to the power of the word, and I appreciate it.
The economics of scarcity. That's football. It's beautiful.
That's amazing. 12 questions with George Stroumboulopoulos. Thank you on the first
75
half.
answers.
75 answers on 12 questions. Thank you, Georgie. That's amazing, dude. Thank you.
Appreciate it.